What would you do if you discovered that someone had been watching you sleep in the wilderness, photographing you night after night, and you never heard a single sound? This happened to me, and I haven't been camping since. I used to be an experienced solo camper, the kind of person who didn't scare easy. I'd been doing this for years, hiking deep into remote wilderness areas where most people would never dare to go alone. On every trip, I'd bring 10 to 14 disposable cameras. It was my thing. I'd document the journey, the landscapes, the wildlife, moments of peace that most of us will never experience. This particular trip, it was supposed to be no different. I packed my gear, grabbed my cameras, and headed into the backcountry for a week-long solo adventure. No cell service, no other hikers for miles, just me and nature. Or so I thought. The week went perfectly. Beautiful weather, stunning views. I hiked during the day, set up camp at night, and captured it all on film. I never saw another person, not once. No footprints on the trails, no distant campfires, no voices echoing through the trees. I felt completely, utterly alone. And honestly, that's exactly what I wanted. That's why I was out there. When the trip ended, I packed up, hiked back to civilization, and went home feeling refreshed, recharged, already planning my next adventure. I dropped off 5 rolls of film to be developed. Like I always did, I sat down at my kitchen table with a cup of coffee, ready to relive the memories. I started flipping through the first stack of photos. Sunrise over the ridge, my tent pitched near a stream, a deer in the distance, and then a photo of myself sleeping inside my tent. I stared at it, confused. I never set up a timer. I never took photos of myself sleeping. That would be weird. Maybe it was an accident, a mistake. I kept flipping. A few photos later, another one, me, sleeping. Different night, different angle. My hands started shaking. I grabbed the second roll, flipped through it. Another photo, me sleeping. Third roll, same thing. Fourth roll, again. Fifth roll, every single roll. Someone had been there in my camp multiple nights, taking my cameras while I slept. They'd crouch down, open my bag, pulled out a camera, took a photo of my unconscious body, and put the camera back, all without making a sound, all without waking me up, all without leaving a single trace. I counted the photos. Every third or fourth picture on 5 different rolls showed me sleeping. That means this person didn't just stumble upon my camp once. They were following me, watching me, night after night. They knew exactly where I'd pitch my tent. They waited for me to fall asleep, and then they documented it. Why? Why take the photos? Why not just watch? Why use my cameras? Were they trying to send a message? Prove they could get that close? Were they planning something worse, and my trip just ended before they could do it? I'll never know. I reported it to the authorities, but there was nothing they could do. No way to identify who it was. No fingerprints. No evidence left behind. Just those photos. Photos of me at my most vulnerable, alone asleep, completely unaware that someone was inches away from my tent. I was an experienced outdoors person. I knew how to stay safe, how to be aware of my surroundings. I'd done everything right, and someone still got that close. I never went camping again, not even car camping, not even with friends. Those photos destroyed something in me, that sense of safety, that peace I used to find in the wilderness. Because here's the thing that keeps me up at night. Whoever did this is still out there. Maybe they moved on to someone else. Maybe they're sitting on a whole collection of photos just like mine. Or maybe they're watching this right now, remembering that week they spent following a solo camper through the woods, taking pictures. I met a man in the woods when I was 18 years old. We talked, we laughed. He seemed harmless, just another camper enjoying the outdoors. Years later, I saw his face on the news. He was a serial killer. I was 18, young, adventurous, maybe a little too confident. Me and a group of friends decided to go camping deep in the Apalachicola National Forest in Florida. We're talking deep, miles from any main roads, miles from civilization, the kind of place where you don't expect to see another soul. We packed our gear, hiked in, and found the perfect spot. Remote, quiet, peaceful, or so we thought. The first night was perfect. We set up camp, made a fire, told stories. Everything you'd want from a camping trip. But the next morning, that's when we met him. We were making breakfast when we heard someone approaching through the trees. This older guy, maybe in his 50s or 60s, scruffy, long hair, weathered face. He was living out of this beat-up white van, parked not too far from our campsite. And I mean, living out of it. Trash bags everywhere, piles of random stuff. It looked like he'd been out there for a while. He walked over, smiled, and just started talking to us. He was friendly, really friendly actually. Asked us where we were from, what brought us out there, how long we were staying. We chatted for maybe 20-30 minutes. He told us stories about the forest, about camping, about his travels. He seemed like just another wanderer. You know, one of those guys who lives off the grid, doesn't like society, prefers nature. A little odd, maybe, but harmless. We said our goodbyes. He walked back to his van. We finished our trip and went home. That was it. I never thought about him again. Until 3 years later, I was scrolling through the news one day and I saw a headline about a serial killer arrested in Georgia. I clicked on it without thinking much of it. And then I saw his face. It was him, the man from the forest. His name was Gary Michael Hilton. He'd been arrested for the kidnapping and murder of a woman named Meredith Emerson. She was hiking with her dog on New Year's Day in 2008 when he abducted her. He held her for 3 days. Then he killed her. But that wasn't all. As I kept reading, I realized Meredith wasn't his first victim. Gary Michael Hilton was a serial killer who specifically targeted people in national forests. He'd been doing this for years, decades maybe. They connected him to at least 4 murders, all in remote wilderness areas, all hikers, all people just like us. Meredith Emerson in Georgia, John and Irene Bryant, an elderly couple in North Carolina, Cheryl Dunlap, a nurse in the Apalachicola National Forest, the same forest where I met him, the same forest where my friends and I were camping alone, young, vulnerable. He was hunting in that forest while we were there. I think about that day all the time now. What made him walk away from us? Why did he just talk? Why didn't he? Were we too many people? Was it the wrong time of day? Did we just get lucky? Or had he already killed someone that week and wasn't ready for another victim yet? I'll never know. But here's what I do know. While we were sitting around that campfire, laughing, completely unaware, there was a serial killer less than 100 yards away from us. A man who had killed before, a man who would kill again. We had no idea we were in danger. Gary Michael Hilton is currently serving life in prison. He'll never get out, but that doesn't change what happened. It doesn't erase the people he killed, the families he destroyed, and it doesn't erase the fact that I shook his hand. I think about Meredith Emerson sometimes, about Cheryl Dunlap, about the Bryants. They were just doing what we were doing. Hiking, camping, enjoying nature, and they ran into the same man I did, except they weren't as lucky as I was. So when people ask me if I still go camping, I tell them yes, but I'm different now. I don't trust friendly strangers in the woods anymore. I don't let my guard down, because I learned the hard way that evil doesn't always look like evil. Sometimes it looks like a scruffy old guy living out of a van who just wants to chat.